Hello, guys. Welcome back to my live stream. I had to delay it a few days because there were some other things going on, but I'm happy to be back here, happy to be back doing this. And as always, I'm going to start off kind of with like the news and different things of that sort, like what's been going on over this past week. I have a list of things that happened, and then we can go into some of your questions and discuss things. And I do have 15 questions for trivia today, so hopefully you all are looking forward to that. And so with all that said, let's get right into the news. So basically, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is so in Pennsylvania, a small park called Del Grosso's Park has announced that they will be closed for the entire year of 2020. And it's pretty sad to see this because now it's the second park that I believe we've seen that just said straight up we're just not going to open for 2020. Thankfully, it looks like they'll be able to open next year, but they're just, yeah, them in Funtown. That was the other one I was talking about. But it is pretty sad to see. This park, they have a reverse-on spinning wild mouse coaster and a wacky worm. Not the greatest collection, but I think they have also a few flat rides, so that's something that's pretty cool. But unfortunately, of course, that park's going to be closed for the rest of this year. Another thing that's been going on, Candymonium has been testing more. I believe they've been testing with the 3 trains, which is good to see. I haven't seen too much of the footage, unfortunately. I just read about it, but I'm sure it's probably running very well, as it was running really well when it first began, I guess, testing. And Orion, I believe, was testing today, so that's also very good to see. Very promising. Uh, Another thing that happened, Indiana Beach has announced that the reopening is going to be June 26th, and they're going to be doing like a huge thing about that. I believe there's going to be an event that takes place on the 27th, um, and it's going to be like there's like going to be a VIP event, so that's pretty cool. I won't be there, of course, because I'm in California. It's really far away. But that's like a cool event, and I believe you can actually buy a brick for like about $70, and I believe they'll put the brick somewhere in the park. It'll have your name on it or something like that, if I'm correct. And that money that they get from the bricks will be going towards renovating the park. So if you want to do that, I didn't leave a link in the description. I guess I should have, but if you want to help the park, consider buying a brick because that's gonna help them a lot. And then SeaWorld Abu Dhabi. I thought this park was canceled, but apparently it's still going. It's supposed to open in 2022, and some more concept art got released recently. And from what I saw, it looks like the park's gonna be pretty much completely indoors for the most part, except they're gonna have a coaster outside, and it looks pretty massive. It's hard to tell what exactly it is, just from the illustrations I just saw recently. But it looks really cool, whatever it is. And like I said, the park's indoors. It's actually like right nearby Ferrari World, in there in Abu Dhabi. So it should be a pretty cool park when it opens. And I'll get to some of the other stuff later, but I'm gonna look through your comments real quick. All right, hi guys. I see that we have more people coming in. Let's see what we got. Oh, the podcast. Yeah, I should have mentioned that, like the first thing. Yeah, I have done 2 episodes of Thrill Central's podcast, Coasters and Toasters. Make sure to check that out after the stream. The first episode I did, we were talking about like what manufacturers and what models I want to see more of, and it was me, Thrill Central, and Blue Fire Coasters, who's he's done some No Limits 2 creations. And he made the creation. He made Tembo, the Busch Gardens Tampa Giga concept. So if you've heard of that or seen that, he was the one who made that. And that episode was pretty cool. And then the second episode, it was me, Thrill Central, Blue Fire Coasters, Zach from Theme Park Media, and Coaster Chow all did this episode on the Coaster Wars in Florida. So if you want to check that out, make sure to do that after the stream. But yeah, that was really fun to do, and just kind of talking with them. It was very interesting to see like different things because they live in different places than I do. So like hearing about the parks and hearing about different things going on, it was a really cool experience. Um, do you think I should start a podcast? I've thought about starting a podcast. I thought it was a lot of work. From what I've heard, it is a decent amount of work, but it's not as much as I would expect. Maybe in the future, but I don't think anytime too soon. But it's definitely something I'm looking into. I'm just looking at what else. I seen your Steel Vengeance video that I didn't upload a Steel Vengeance video yesterday, but yeah, my Steel Vengeance review, yeah, I made that a while back. I didn't make it like anything too crazy. Like, so I know some other people went all out with it, but just Steel Vengeance. If you don't know, it is my favorite coaster I've ever ridden up to this point, and it's just absolutely spectacular. So if you want to check out the review later, you can definitely do so. Thrill Central should do a Virginia Coaster War. There could be some interesting stuff there. Yeah, I definitely could see that. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. Hi Blue Fire Coasters. Yeah, Dustin. That was who I was doing the 2 episodes with for the podcast. So, yeah, good to see you here. Let's see what else. I saw you had this scheduled for Thursday, but what happened? I was like just some things came up, and I was like, you know what? I haven't done this really on a Saturday yet, at least from what I remember. So I'm like, instead of doing it Friday, I'm just gonna go Saturday, and we'll do that. Uh, yeah. Dustin is from not Germany. Sorry, he's from Florida, not from Germany. Coaster Chaw was mainly talking about the Busch Gardens Coaster War. Yeah. Uh, oh yeah, he's done like multiple videos on that, like on his channel. So he had like a lot of good knowledge on that. I guess I'll go through some of the other news bits because I didn't get through all of them. I was just kind of like looking at your what you guys had put in. Yes, Coaster Chaw is British. Yeah, that's correct. I found your channel from Coaster Daddy's last live stream. Yeah, I think some people have found me from that, so good to see. I like to be on there. He has some really good live streams, so good to see you here. Thrill Central should do a Busch Gardens and SeaWorld Coaster War, like a video or podcast. I mean, we already did, like I said, a Florida one, uh, but I guess I could see that. Let's see. Now, for some of the other news, a lot of the European parks, I believe, I know that there's been a decent amount of them that have like had opening dates. They've been saying that they're gonna open in like late May, early June. So that's something that's going on. Knott's Berry Farm and Cedar Point, their celebrations, because Knott's Berry Farm, obviously they're turning 100 this year, and Cedar Point, they are turning 150. Those celebrations have been postponed all the way to next year. However, it appears that, at least for Knott's Berry Farm, Knott's Berry Tales, the new dark ride they're opening this year, will still reopen. This year, which is good to see. Good to hear. Of course, that's subject to change, but it's good to see that that's still happening. However, Cedar Point's new ride, which it is called Snake River Expedition, that will be opening next year, which probably kills any chance of a Cedar Point coaster next year, if you are still hoping for that. And actually, on the topic of that, I believe the Dorney Park coaster, um, actually, I believe they were like it got approved or something from uh, one of the counties, something like that. So it appears that the Dorney Park Gravity Group wooden coaster may actually happen next year, which is a bit unexpected, but I mean it is very good to see. And so I saw someone asking if we were still under lockdown. Yeah, we are still currently under lockdown, and there's a pretty good chance that as far as parks go in the states, we're probably going to be the last state to like reopen our stuff. That just seems like what it's gonna be like, because I mean LA and San Francisco they have some pretty dense areas, and yeah, so it's gonna probably be a little while before like California just kind of reopens. Let's see what else. Oh, the Space Shot Drop Tower. If you weren't here last week, Dixieland, which is a park in Louisiana, I believe they have a Vekoma Boomerang and a few other coasters. They were gonna remove a SNS Space Shot Drop Tower, which if you don't know what those are, you basically take an air compressed shot to the top. You get some really good airtime, and then you get a pretty mediocre drop, in my opinion. But it's still a pretty fun ride. And that SNS drop tower that was originally from Dixieland is actually being relocated to Movieland Park in Italy, which is pretty surprising to me. I was thinking like a smaller US park was gonna get it, and it was gonna be like something pretty cool for them. But it appears that Italy's getting this. I don't know how big the park is, but it should be a fun addition for them. Definitely seems like a good ride. I've done a double shot, which is a basically a better version of a space shot, and that ride was really fun. So Italy definitely has something to look forward to with this new drop tower. And I'll look through another thing because there's a few. The last two things are kind of big. Well, actually, one of them's not really that big. It's more just kind of a strange thing that happened. I plan to buy a brick from Indiana Beach for my birthday. What should I write on it? I don't know. Like, I assumed you just put your name or something along those lines. I can't really help you with that. I haven't looked too much into it myself. I just know that it's like $70. But definitely, yeah, that's like a good thing to put your money into because that park, they definitely, with the reopening and everything, they probably need about as much help as they can get. But it seems like they're in the right hands, so things are probably going to go pretty well for them here in the near future. Of course, they have to get through this whole situation, but they are reopening, so that's at least a good sign. How long until Six Flags Fresno? Six Flags Fresno is gonna be never. I wouldn't be shocked if someone or like something at some point way in the future, if like somehow we got like an indoor park or I don't know something, but it would be pretty small. I think. I do know there was supposed to be like a little amusement park slash entertainment sort of place that wasn't too far from my house. It was, I think, going to be called Granite Park. Plans for that died, and there was a coaster that we got from one of the Vegas hotels that had a park that it went defunct, and then that park, I think, the coaster got scrapped, which is pretty sad, at least from what I've heard. Lockdown was lifted yesterday in Maryland, even though it's one of the worst states for COVID. Yeah. Like I said, we're probably going to be like one of the last ones. It's kind of like has kind of been described as almost in another. It's like almost in another world. It seems like in some, uh, with some things. So it's pretty interesting how this is all going along. I saw some news from Orange County Register, and it said that SeaWorld Entertainment might delay coasters to 2021. I haven't heard about that. I kind of doubt it. Like, I guess SeaWorld San Diego. Okay, wait, Orange County and is that near Orlando? I don't know exactly like the cities there. That's interesting. Like maybe SeaWorld Orlando. I doubt that would happen. I could definitely see that for SeaWorld San Diego if our state stays like lockdown and parks don't open for a good while. Coaster Hour, what is your opinion on King's Dominion filling that plan to remove Possessed and replace it with a GCI shuttle coaster? Um, I think you're referring to Dorney Park, but yeah, I was just talking about that. It looks like they're gonna get it in 2021 because they're getting like plans approved, and it just seems like it's gonna be a new for 2021 coaster, and of course the Cedar Point coaster. I think that's not happening in 2021 because they're delaying their celebration and their new ride for next year. So yeah, I think the Dorney Park coaster looks cool. Possessed, that's kind of sad. I mean, I hope it goes to another park at worst, or maybe they can relocate it to another area of the park. I don't know how doable that is, but hopefully it is some able to survive in some sort of shape or form. Let's see. What else we got here? Uh, Wait, did I say GCI. I meant to say Gravity Group Shuttle Coaster. Yeah, it's a Gravity Group. When do you think California's Great America will get their hyper coaster? I don't know. I honestly, I don't even know if they will get it anytime real soon. Like, honestly, I really don't know. Some of the plans for that park, I think, have kind of gone out the window at this point. It's kind of sad because I wanted to see it grow. I think stuff like that will happen eventually, but I don't know. Probably not anytime real soon. Let's see what else. I'm assuming Possessed goes to California's Great America. That's a theory. Honestly, I could definitely see that happening. I wouldn't really get too excited for it. I think it should stay at Dorney Park, but at least I guess it's something. How about June 15th for Busch Gardens Tampa slash SeaWorld Orlando? That seems like something that could very likely happen. Like, it seems very possible. And that's what I was saying. I'm kind of like, I doubt that they're new coasters. They wouldn't open them this year. That just seems really unlikely. I think they will open them this year. Busch Gardens Tampa and Busch Gardens Williamsburg will be the first SeaWorld entertainment parks to have a Giga. Um, I guess Williamsburg, if you consider that shuttle thing a giga, I mean, it will go over 300 feet, but some people might debate on that. Yeah, that will be the first one. And Tampa, yeah, they're probably going to get a giga at some point. It may be like a little later than maybe I would expect, but I think it will happen. Only coaster that will be an issue is Pantheon. Yeah, that ride they haven't. Okay, that one I could definitely see maybe getting pushed to 2021 because I don't. They haven't even started testing. I'm not entirely aware on how far they are with the construction process. That coaster, that one's pretty far behind. I think Emperor was at least, yeah, Emperor's at least testing, but since it's in California, that's just kind of what I was thinking. And I guess Virginia, they might be uh, behind some of the other states as well. Uh, Unhide the account. I don't know that I could do that for you, but we'll see. I'll try to do my best about that. Checking. If you weren't trying to do anything bad, I'm sure he'll understand. And then the last two things. So there was some of you may have seen this. This kind of was floating around. There was this supposed surf coaster leak. I'm just gonna say right now it's fake, and I pretty much know it's fake because basically, if you don't know, there was a document someone like supposedly found that had like the information on the surf coaster. It looked very similar to the document that was leaked several months ago, but it had a B&M logo on the top and an illustration on the side that showed like it was very weird. So the coaster that it showed had truck on the bottom and the top, and it looked like it could have been a stand-up coaster. So I was very skeptical of it. And looking over, the information was literally exactly the same as the document that came out several months ago. So if you guys saw that leak, it's totally fake. I have like no doubt in my mind that it is not real because literally all the information was exactly the same as the leaked document from several months back. Um, like someone just messed with it a little bit. And then the other news, I guess this isn't really news, but just something that kind of came out. I might be a little late on this, but apparently Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was supposed to originally be on, it was supposed to be based off of, you were supposed to go to Tatooine and Endor. And honestly, I would have preferred that. I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge, but I've been talking with some people. A lot of people that I know would have preferred if they made a planet based off the original trilogy or something familiar rather than something completely new or, I guess, based off the sequel trilogy. Because the planet that you're on at Galaxy's Edge, it's something that isn't really shown in any of the movies, but pretty much everything there is kind of based on the sequel trilogy. So, I mean, I haven't been there, but I don't know that I'll like the land as much as maybe some other people do. Let's see what else we got here. Anyone know the absolute latest on Jersey Devil construction? I believe it resumed, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But I believe that's where we were at with the Jersey Devil construction. I don't know how far along with the layout they are. I'm pretty sure they resumed at some point. They should tear down those Intamin shuttle Giga coaster plans, and they should think about something better. Yeah, I do kind of agree with that. It seems really redundant. I feel like they can go back to the drawing board. I mean, the problem is if they've already paid for it, that's like just a done deal. Um, so yeah, that's what I was saying. Like they probably already paid for it, so it's not like they can walk out of it. That's why like I've been saying that 2021 coaster editions and additions will probably stay the same because parks probably already paid for them, and some of them I know they're gonna be delayed till 2022. But I could see 2022 and 2023 being pretty slow years just because of the effect this whole situation is gonna take on like parks and how they spend uh, their money on like new projects. All right, so let's see how. Okay, I probably should have started the trivia. So I'm going to start the trivia right now, and I have 15 questions. So I think I'm gonna split this up into five. So I'm gonna read the last few things that you guys sent and then go right into it. So, last few things you sent. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Intamin can still make their prefab and Giga models. Parts just don't want them. Yes, I believe that is correct. I think I heard this on the Talking Trimless podcast, and if you haven't listened to it, you definitely should. I think it was the most recent episode. Yeah, prefabs are still available to buy, but no one wants to get them, and I think the reason why is pretty much just RMC. Like that's pretty much it. Like why some companies they just don't really want to go for a prefabricated wooden coaster, and Giga coaster. I'm pretty sure they'll be able to do it. I just think that parks don't really want them. Pantheon track is completed, and the skeleton of the station is already completed, but the theming has not been completed. Okay, that's interesting. But they haven't, and they also haven't started testing yet, which is not a good sign. At least for it like opening, I guess, anytime that soon. So, okay, so now I'm going to go to the trivia, and like I said, I'm going to split this up into 3 sets of 5. And with that being said, the first question is, including Phantom's Revenge, how many roller coasters did Morgan build? I'll repeat that again. Including Phantom's Revenge, how many roller coasters did Morgan build? I'll let you guys have a little bit of time to answer that. No, it is not 5. Decent guess, but no, it's not 5. 9. That is correct. So yes, Eric Thomason got it. It's 9. And if you wanted to know which ones they were, the coasters they made were Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood, the Hyper Coaster, Wild Thing at Valley Fair, another Hyper Coaster, West Coaster, which is a iconic family coaster at the Santa Monica Pier, Steel Force at Dorney Park, which is another Hyper Coaster, Mamba at Worlds of Fun, Steel Eel, which is has a hyper layout, but it's shorter than 200 feet, so it's not a hyper coaster. Steel Dragon 2000, the famous Giga coaster that's also the longest in the entire world. Quicksilver Express, the family coaster at Gilroy Gardens, and Superman El Ultimo Escape, one of my personal favorite coasters I've ever ridden, and the last coaster to be made by Morgan at Six Flags Mexico. Alright, so for our next question, this might be a little complicated, so I'll ask this probably more than 2 times. So here's the question. What park did Jungle Trailblazer, the first inverting wooden roller coaster in Asia, open at? I'll say that again. What park did Jungle Trailblazer, the first inverting wooden roller coaster in Asia, open at? And I guess I'll say it again because this one's a little complicated. What park did Jungle Trailblazer, the first inverting wooden roller coaster in Asia, open at? And I'm specifically asking the first one to have an inversion. No, I didn't forget Quicksilver Express. I mentioned it. Yeah. Heritage. Yep, that is correct. It is so Jungle Trailblazer is at Oriental Heritage in Hawaiian. I totally butchered that. Um, Huayan, China, and this park is part of the Fanta Wild Park chain, which actually by 2021 they will be operating 34 different amusement parks, which is pretty insane. And the other coasters they have at the park are a Vekoma Boomerang called Stress Express, which that's not really a great name for a coaster, but that's just what they call it. A Golden Horse Mine Train named Night Rescue, and a Golden Horse Kiddie Coaster called Space Vehicle. They also have a powered wacky worm called Worm Around. So outside of that wooden coaster, they don't really have much, basically. All right, so the third question is, what is the tallest roller coaster in Ireland? I'll say that again. What is the tallest roller coaster in Ireland? I figure this one will be a little bit easier than like some of the other ones I've asked thus far. Um, so I'll repeat that again. What is the tallest roller coaster in Ireland? Okay, I'll give it to the Puma. He said it was Su Chulane. That is correct. He didn't spell it right, but you know, at this point, I'm not really gonna say anything about it, and I also may have mispronounced it anyways. But Su Chulane, Ku Chulane, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it. The Gravity Group wooden coaster at Tayto Park in Ireland, which stands at a height of 105 feet tall, and the other existing roller coasters in Ireland are just they're all pretty much family and kiddie coasters, so it's not even really close. Potato Park, yeah, that's basically how I kind of remember it. It sounds like that. Um, my next question is, what was the name of the first roller coaster to ever open at Alton Towers? I'll say that again. What was the name of the first roller coaster to ever open at Alton Towers? This one should be pretty easy. Rings of Earth got it. It's Corkscrew. Um, and this is the Arrow corkscrew that opened. Oh, wait, or actually, no, it wasn't Arrow. It was a Vekoma corkscrew that opened in 1980. And the corkscrews can still be found at the park to this day. Yeah, I see y'all are getting it. I figured this one would be a little bit easier. But yeah, corkscrew, that is the correct answer. And then for our last question of this kind of set, actually, hold on. This is another question that's a little complicated. I probably should word this out better, but so I'll repeat this multiple times. But here it is. Big Boom is a roller coaster in Japan that is said to be one of the best in the entire country. But what park is it located at? I'll say that again. Big Boom is a roller coaster in Japan that is said to be one of the best in the entire country. But what park is it located at? Stamford Bridge got it, followed by the Puma, Coaster Roaster, and okay, everyone's getting it. Okay, yeah, Nasu Highland. They have a decent collection of coasters at the park. And of course, if you haven't heard of Big Boom, which it appears like a lot of you have, so I don't really have to go into it too much, basically, it is said to have one of the best first drops in the entire world. It looks a lot like El Toro's first drop or T Express's first drop. It's pretty incredible, and it has one airtime hill that looks insane, and it's just and then following that like huge airtime hill, you have a vertical loop. It's just a very strange layout. But it definitely looks like a really cool ride. Definitely one I really want to do when I go to Japan. And if you haven't seen a POV of it, yeah, you pretty much have to. It's insane. Um, yeah, a lot of people know about it because of Coaster Studios. I had heard of it before, but I wasn't like, I just kind of was like, oh, okay, that kind of looks cool, but didn't really think much of it. Like, I thought the drop was kind of weird, but then, of course, he did his review on it, and now a lot more people know about it. Yeah, theme park review. Yeah, I think I saw like a video of it there, and I was like, huh, interesting. Yeah, Roller Coaster David did a video on that, and if I'm correct, I don't think he was able to ride it, which kind of sucks. Um, I uh, was watching the video, and then midway through, I had to do something, so uh, I'm I don't think he was able to ride it though, which kind of sad. What manufacturer made Big Boom? I believe it was My Show. I believe that's what it was called. Yeah. I don't know if you were asking me that as a question or if you didn't know. Yeah. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, and I guess for now that is the first set of trivia. So I'll open it up to questions or just things you want to discuss. And actually, I want to ask a question to some of you guys. I imagine there's about 15 of you, 14 of you here in the chat. Hopefully, one of you has been. So for anyone in the chat, if you have been to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, what do you think of the land itself? Not necessarily like the rides and stuff, but like the land itself, the theming, the shops, everything. Like, what do you think of the just like the land itself? I'm pretty curious because I haven't been and I've heard really mixed things on it. And also, like I said, you can ask questions to me and I'll answer them during this time. Let's see. Virginia has a really unique coaster like collection. Yeah, they have a really nice coaster collection actually. You haven't been yet. I mean, I guess it's possible that none of you have been. I would have figured maybe one of you had. I'm gonna go hopefully sometime within the next few years. Uh, because Disneyland, I live in California. Um, but we'll see. The land, okay, here we go. The land is very well themed as it is a creation made just for the Disney parks. The theming, it does look really good, but um, I just there's some things I am a little skeptical on, and I've heard from both like enthusiasts, both like coaster enthusiasts and theme park enthusiasts have mixed reactions on it. A lot of people who have mixed like who don't really like it, it's because they're a Star Wars fan and they don't like the new sequel trilogy, which I kind of fall in the same line there. But yeah. I have not been, but before Rise of the Resistance, there was a big controversy over it being empty due to its glorified shopping district. Yeah, I remember that. And Meh Falcon Ride. Yeah, Rise of the Resistance, like that. I'm not saying like that ride. I've only seen a few clips. I don't want to be, um, I guess, I don't want to be spoiled. But that ride, from what I've heard and the clips I've seen, it looks absolutely amazing. So even though I don't necessarily like the sequel trilogy, I think that ride will be absolutely spectacular, no matter what, because they just that ride absolutely amazing, and seems like they put so much hard work and effort into that ride. So, yeah, Smuggler's Run. I mean, it's something I'll have to experience for myself, but I haven't heard the best things about that ride. Best theme park land in Florida. Really interesting. I've heard so for me, I've heard more people like kind of say they prefer the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, um, or Pandora even. So, uh, interesting to hear. Unpopular opinion, but you love the sequel trilogy. I mean, I know some people that like it. I'm just wondering, are you newer to Star Wars? Like, did you watch the original trilogy and like the prequels when you were, I guess, younger or before the sequel trilogy came out? Because a lot of the people that I know who actually like the sequel trilogy, they hadn't watched the movies before. So, but some of them had. So it's just kind of interesting. I myself am not really a big fan of it. Just um, especially the Last Jedi, I wasn't a big fan of that, and the other movies they're just kind of eh. The prequel trilogy was pretty good. I'll say this about the prequel trilogy: I haven't seen that. Like I've seen, I guess I saw Phantom Menace somewhat recently. But as movies, I don't really think they're really good. But they do good things, I guess, for the universe. I guess so. Like certain things they bring in, and of course, Attack of the Clones. I mean, it set up the Clone Wars show, which it is like one of my favorite. Um, like I guess my some of my one of my favorite like I guess kinds of content in all Star Wars. the Clone Wars, because I have been watching it like pretty much since I was a little kid, and watching it wrap up was pretty amazing for me over these past few weeks when it was uh, having its final season. I started watching Star Wars when The Force Awakens came out. Yeah, I mean, for some people, like this is their first Star Wars thing. Um, I think if you look at it like just as a trilogy of movies, I mean, I can see why you would like it. It's like that's just like something that I've seen. So yeah, that's cool. That you like the sequel trilogy. Like I said, we all have different opinions. So uh, the prequel trilogy was a great concept, but executed awfully. The dialogue is pretty not very good. I mean, there's a lot of memes, but like as for actual dialogue, it's not really that good. And there's certain things that definitely could have been executed better. So in a way, I kind of agree with that. It's weird during the Thrill Central podcast that Disney and Universal can't get a huge thrill coaster, and the only thrill parks are SeaWorld and Busch Gardens. Okay, I did say that I could see Universal doing it. The problem is a lot of the like I guess models that I could have seen them get. Like there's already parks around them that already have it. Like Flying Dinosaur, that won't happen, or a ride like it won't happen, simply because Manta is like so close by. And you can watch the podcast and you might understand a little more with what I mean. But yeah, a lot of the coasters that I think maybe they could get, unfortunately, like surrounding parks already have their own versions. So that kind of kills the opportunity for them to get them. Let's see. What else we got? The only Star Wars movie I saw was Rogue One. Pretty good one. Like, it's got its flaws, but a pretty good one. Harry Potter Land over Avatar. Yeah, I've heard that. I can see that for sure. I've only been to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Universal Studios Hollywood, but I really thought it was amazing. So, yeah. Busch Gardens Williamsburg New Spain Land has been rumored for a long time, and they are still rumored to get it. Maybe they'll get it. I'm not entirely sure what's gonna happen there. I haven't been to Busch Gardens Williamsburg, so I wouldn't know exactly. Revenge of the Sith is better than A New Hope and all the other prequel and sequel movies. Uh, hold on. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's cool that you think that. Star Wars is the best movie in the saga. Yeah, a lot of people would agree with you there. Disney is more family oriented. Yeah, they are. I that's why I was saying like I don't think Disney, they're gonna do too many like big throwing coasters during the podcast. However, I will say this: Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, the Drop Tower, and I've ridden a few of them now, including Lex Luthor, Drop of Doom, and a few other ones. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is by far the most intense drop tower I have ever ridden, and it's not even close. And it like the ride almost feels out of place with how kind of intense and out of control it is. It's pretty crazy. Um, Wait, B&M Flying Coaster go good with Kings Dominion or Busch Gardens Williamsburg? I mean, one of them's gonna get it eventually. I feel like someone's got to get a flyer eventually, right? I think either park it would be a good fit. Busch Gardens Williamsburg needs a spinning coaster like Cobra's Curse or Time Traveler. I think an extreme spinner, yeah, that could work well. Also, a regular one like something like Cobra's Curse. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that seems to make sense. What is my favorite coaster manufacturer? I'm trying. I guess I would have to pick RMC. Maybe I could kind of consider Intamin, but I think I'll say RMC for now. Old school Intamin drop towers are the best, like the first gen. I've heard good things about those, but I haven't ridden them, so. Yeah. Revenge. No, it's my bad. Uh, Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie because Vader is redeemed. Yeah, yeah, I can see like uh that I guess. To me, not so much, but yeah, I could see that. Mako precludes B&M Hyper for Universal and Manta, yeah. Yeah, the B&M dive coaster. Oh yeah, Dustin. Yeah, that's what you were talking about there. Yeah, I think it would make a ton of sense for them. Is Knott's Berry Farm getting a new coaster next year? I no, they're definitely not getting a new coaster next year. Uh, I, I don't think that's happening. I don't even know what they could get with the space they have, but maybe sometime in the next few years, we'll see. Intamin is my favorite because I did not ride any RMCs. Well, yeah, then it would be your favorite. I've ridden 5 RMCs, even though I've ridden under 100 coasters, which is actually pretty insane to think about. The amount of Intamins I've ridden, I believe I've ridden 12, and there it's like a wider range of like quality. Like Woodstock Express, the Intamin family coaster at Great America is one of the worst coasters I've ridden just because it feels so cramped. But then you have like legendary rides like Sky Rush, which is one of my all-time favorites, and Storm Runner, Top Thrill Dragster, Maverick are all very high on my list. So Intamin's definitely a company I also really like their coasters. No room at Knott's Berry Farm. That's pretty accurate. What do you think could replace Vortex at Kings Island? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. Um, I think Kings Island. Well, oh, I guess they got rid of Nighthawk, so I don't know that a flying coaster would make that much sense. But um, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get to the next 5 questions of trivia. Coaster Roaster just kind of brought it up, and I looked at the time. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna do the next set of trivia. So the next 5 questions. So with all that said, I guess I'll get started right now. So our next question for trivia is, what park are the dueling Chinese Intamin coasters Dueling Dragons at? I'll say that again. What park are the dueling Chinese Intamin coasters Dueling Dragons at? Um, so not the one, not Dueling Dragons at Islands of Adventure, but the one in China. What park is it at, basically? I mean, you guys are getting close. Okay, there we go. Uh, so Puma got it. I'm sorry if I butchered this name, but Guangzhou Sunak Land is the park that has the Dueling Chinese Intamin coasters, Dueling Dragons. And outside of Dueling Dragons, the park also has a Golden Horse water coaster that has a volcano theme, which is pretty interesting, and a themed powered inverted spinning coaster that's also pretty well themed. It's pretty strange. I don't remember who manufactured it, but that's something they have. Uh, Try to avoid RCDB, using RCDB if you can. But yeah, basically that's it. Um, oh, hi Coaster Tal. I just saw that you were here. Good to see you here. I'm doing trivia, so I'm gonna ask 4 more questions. I've been doing sets of 5, so if you wanna join that, I'm about to ask my next question right now. So for my next question, it is, what is the name of the only RMC coaster that is less than 100 feet tall? I'll say that again. What is the name of the only RMC coaster that is less than 100 feet tall? It is not Twisted Timbers. It is not Storm Chaser. It's Medusa Steel Coaster. That is correct. The Coaster Roaster got it. So Storm Chaser, if I'm correct, I think it is actually 100 feet tall exactly. Might be wrong on that, but from my research, I do know that Medusa Steel Coaster is in fact the only coaster made by RMC that measures at under 100 feet tall, and it stands at a height of 98 feet tall, which is pretty crazy because when you go to Six Flags Mexico, it seems a lot taller, but I think it's like on a hill. So because I've actually been there, so I would know like what it looks like. But yeah, it's pretty crazy to think about because when I looked at it, I'm like, it's probably like 120 feet tall, and it's not. Yeah, Medusa. It like, I think it's like elevated on like some sort of hill or something because yeah, it seems bigger, but it's not, which is really strange. Yeah, so I can definitely understand like Storm Chaser. That ride definitely seems like it would be the shortest one, but it's not, which is pretty weird. So our next question is, Giant Dipper is the oldest coaster in California. So what year was it built? I'll say that again. Giant Dipper is the oldest roller coaster in California. So what year was it built? Stamford Bridge got it, as well as Eric Thomason. It was built in 1924, and the reason I actually did this question is because tomorrow, Giant Dipper at Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk will turn 96 years old. So that is pretty incredible, and it is one of my. It is the oldest coaster I've ever ridden, and it is still one of my favorites. It's just an absolute classic. So definitely, if you're in Northern California, even though it is a little bit out of the way, if you think you can make it out there, definitely a really cool and fun ride to ride. In Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, it's a pretty fun park to go to, so definitely something you should consider if you are in Northern California. Just because, I mean, it's a historical park, so it's got a little bit of its, I guess, good to it. So, yeah. And then, so our next question is, sorry, I kind of went real quick there. But our next question is, what was the name of the first roller coaster to open at Six Flags New England? And here's a hint, it actually opened when the park was called Riverside Amusement Park. So I'll say that again. What was the name of the first roller coaster to open at Six Flags New England? And this one, it's not the first one to it's not the first one like that's still operating. It was the first one to ever be built at Six Flags New England. So I'll say that again. What was the name of the first coaster to open at Six Flags New England? And also, it's defunct, so I'll tell you that much. Um, it is not Thunderbolt. It's actually Giant Dip. Not Giant Dipper, Giant Dip. It was built in 1912, which is pretty crazy. It only operated for I think like 7 years, so it didn't last very long, but it was an older wooden coaster that opened at the park when it was still called Riverside Amusement Park. Thunderbolt, it would be the oldest one that's still operating, so if you guess that, I can definitely see where you were coming from. All right, and so for our next one and our last one for for the second set, because there's one more set after this. So for our last question of this second set, what is the name of the most recent coaster to be made by Togo? I'll say that again. What is the name of the most recent coaster to be made by Togo? This one, I think, some of these, I think I made it a little hard. Let's see. Giant Dip sounds like what you will get on ice cream. Yeah, pretty much. Giant Dip was what they called their guacamole bowl. Flounder's Flying Fish. That is correct. Flounder's Flying Fish is the last coaster to have been built by Togo, and it was built in 2001. I see a lot of Windjammer surf racers. You guys were close. Actually, I don't remember the year that Windjammer was built. I think it was like the late 90s. Yeah, 97. So not too far off, but yeah, Flounder's Flying Fish Coaster. I would have accepted Flounder if you just said Flounder's Flying Fish. Yeah, it opened at Tokyo Disney Sea with it when it opened. Yeah, that's correct. So that's pretty cool. And Togo, if you don't know, the company actually still exists, but they basically only manufacture parts for their existing coasters. However, they do, I believe, have like concepts on their website still. So maybe they'll come back eventually and make new coasters because they're not really defunct. They just only manufacture new parts for their existing rides, like I mentioned. All right, so once again, you guys can ask me more questions, things of that sort. And in a little bit, I'll do the last set of the trivia. When am I going to review Gold Striker? Um, I I know I ranked it, but I'm actually going to wait until I'm able to get a few more rides on Gold Striker because the thing is, my last few rides on it um weren't the best. I rode more in the morning because my which probably wasn't the best idea, but I had like limited time there, so I was only able to get two rides. One ride in the back row, which was not nearly to the level I was hoping for. But then in the front row, it was a lot better. So I don't know. Um, exactly. Whenever I go to Great America next, I'll make sure to get more rides on it. I'll try to do a night ride if possible because I know that's kind of where it shines. And the front row seems to be like my favorite row on most GCIs now. So definitely will be trying to get the front row more often on my next few rides on Gold Strikers. So it'll be a little while before I actually review it. Is Gold Striker rough? Yeah, a little bit. I wrote it in 2013, and for many years that was like what I based like my opinion on Gold Striker off of, and it was like, I mean, it wasn't perfectly smooth, but which is fine. I mean, it's a wooden coaster; it shouldn't be perfectly smooth, but it like just like pretty much hauled through its layout. It was running amazingly, and then last year when I went, it was not quite as good. It was still pretty good, but it just wasn't exactly to the level that I was used to back on my early rides on it in 2013. Do I have a song suggestion for your next video? I can't really I don't really think I have one actually. So I can't really help you with that. It's weird when Park Asterix announced the new multi-launch Blitz coaster and Busch Gardens Williamsburg looked at it and said that looks so cool. Let's get it before that opens. I don't think that's actually what happened. I'm pretty sure that Williamsburg probably had Pantheon in the plans for a while, and then but the other park, like most parks, don't announce coasters like as far ahead of time as Park Asterix did. So I think Williamsburg probably got it first. That's probably what happened. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that worked out. How it got announced later, and yet it's opening earlier. Well, hopefully, because they're kind of a little behind on like all the construction and stuff like that. I think when Park Asterix and Wallaby Belgium finally give their projected coaster names, they'll hit people's radars, and yeah, they look really good. I was saying that the Wallaby Belgium Mega Coaster, I don't know if I said this in a video or just I was telling somebody this. I think I was just telling somebody this, but honestly, I think it has a chance to possibly be like the best steel coaster, non-hybrid, like out there. Like I'm being dead serious. I think it could be that good for the mega coaster. It just looks absolutely incredible. It looks like it just looks amazing. What do you think of the Six Flags reservation system? I've heard bits and pieces on it, but I'm like not entirely familiar with it, so I'll have to like kind of look more into that in the future. Um, but it looks like they've done a good job of like figuring things out and making things clear, so that's a good thing. What coaster do you think should replace Volcano the Blast coaster? Um, Honestly, I think an infinity coaster would be awesome. Heck, even I guess a flying coaster would be great as well. Um, so I think one of those two things would be a really good fit there. And I think like it would be something that would be an appropriate, I guess replacement. I mean, an Axis coaster that would be also like amazing, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But an infinity coaster would be pretty cool, and a flyer would be as well. If I were to get any nano coasters, what would you get? I haven't gotten any yet, but the Iron Gwazi one looks pretty good, so that's probably the one I would get. So yeah. I hope Busch Gardens Williamsburg actually films a POV when Pantheon starts testing. Uh, they did film a POV of Iron Gwazi, but they haven't given it to us. They're like teasing us. It's just ridiculous. I mean, they have it. They showed us it for a second, and it was like, nope, that's all you get. Just 1 second. Man, it's crazy. Yeah, the Mega Coaster looks to be top 10 in the world. I could definitely see that. It looks amazing. Definitely looks like one of Intamin's best coasters to date. Maybe even the best one they've ever made. It looks that good. Also, the what is it? The Velocicoaster, the Islands of Adventure Intamin Blitz coaster. I've heard like such incredible things about that ride, and it seems like it's also going to be like one of the best coasters, possibly in the entire world when it gets built. So that's also something to look forward to. Not on the level of, I don't think, of the Mega Coaster, at least from a layout standpoint, but definitely something to look forward to. Yeah, I think everyone wants to see an Iron Gwazi POV. The Son of Beast one is the best one. Oh, for nano coasters, I'm sure that nano coaster is really cool. If that exists, does that really exist? Hold on, because I'm not too familiar with nano coasters. Does that exist? Looks like it does. Huh? Interesting. Um, wait, someone left. Oh, Coaster Mania. All right, see ya. Um, so, oh, ejector and also ejector coasters. See ya as well. Um, yeah, yeah. There is a Son of Beast Nano coaster. I was just looking at that. Oh, you weren't leaving. Okay, never mind. My bad. Okay. So, um, let's see. What time is it? 6:57. Okay, a few more minutes. I'll do the next 5 trivia questions pretty soon. Getting them ready up here. Um, and you remade a hydraulic launch coaster out of Connects. Launch is legendary. That's pretty cool. You need a Pantheon POV so bad. I want to see how it hauls through that Outer Bank turn. Yeah, that looks incredible. Actually, I learned something. Speaking of new for 2020 coasters, um, I was like, I heard about it today. Apparently, Abyssus, because if you didn't know, the Vekoma Firestorm has a trim at the top. I think, like on the top hat, Abyssus has one as well. Hopefully, it won't run too hard, but that would just, hopefully, it's not going to kill the pacing of it too much, but that's something that kind of worries me. Yeah, Abyssus looks incredible, like from a layout standpoint. I'm just a little worried about the trims. I mean, I'm sure even if it trims it a decent bit, it's still going to be an amazing ride. But it might kind of like take it out of the running of maybe being like that number 2, number 3 coaster of the year. So, yeah. Will Pantheon have a trim on its top hat? Actually, yeah, I don't think so, but I think from the animated thing, I think I may have heard it being tossed around that maybe they would like have some sort of weird thing where it almost seems like a dive coaster at the top. Um, I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think I may have heard something about that, but I don't think that's happening. I don't think Pantheon will have a trim at the top hat. That doesn't seem like something they would do with that. Of course, if it like hauls through the layout too much, or I guess actually no, it's a launch, so they wouldn't have that issue. So we'll see. 808 Coaster's video on that was excellent. Yeah, he was his video was the one that like I watched, and that's how I learned about it. If you haven't subscribed to 808 Coaster Life or watched his new Abyssus video, definitely make sure to do that because his channel is amazing, and that video was just a really cool video to watch. So definitely check that out if you want to after the stream. Does Park Asterix new multi-launch coaster have a I don't think that every launch coaster has a trim on its top hat. I don't think that's gonna be a. I didn't mean for that to like be like a big question. I don't think the Intamins will have any issue with that. We'll just leave it at that. And yeah, the stall looks legendary. I will agree with that. Okay, so it's about 7. So I guess I'll do the last 5 questions. Oh, 808 Coaster Life, you're here. Hi there. So I'm gonna do the last 5 questions of the trivia. This is the last set, and so if that's said, I'm gonna go right into our next question, and that is, what is the oldest roller coaster to have been converted into an RMC hybrid? I'll say that again. What is the oldest roller coaster to have been converted into a RMC hybrid? This one should be pretty easy, I think. It was not Cyclone. Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and Eric Thomason, Ejector Air Coaster Stanford Bridge, Rings of Earth, and Check-In all got it like within like a few seconds of each other. So yeah, Colossus, which opened in 1978. I was actually able to ride it before it closed, but sadly, I only got one ride on it. It was way out of its prime, and it was when the trains were running backwards. But I was like, well, better to ride it than not. And I didn't know that they were gonna close it because I don't think they announced it yet. Maybe they did. I'm not sure. Well, I guess in that case, I would have known that. Actually, maybe I did know, and that's why I wrote it. Um, but Colossus, yeah, I wrote it when it was like out of its prime, and I didn't really like the ride too much, and it's definitely a lot better as Twisted Colossus. But um, I think if I got a front row ride, it would have been a lot better. Yeah, I've heard in its prime it was absolutely excellent, which I really wish I was able to ride it when it was running its best but I'm pretty sure that was like way before I was even born. So uh, Goliath kind of sucks for a hyper, by the way. That's my opinion on it. I mean, it's just whatever, I guess. All right, so for our next question, we have what was the first roller coaster to close at Six Flags Magic Mountain? So staying inside of Six Flags Magic Mountain, what was the first roller coaster to close at Six Flags Magic Mountain? Stamford Bridge got it. Mountain Express. And this was a Schwarzkopf Wildcat that opened in 1973 and then operated for 9 years and then closed in 1982. I believe it was relocated to a few parks, but now it's like, it's, I believe, been scrapped. So there's no way you can really ride that coaster anymore, which is sad, but um, I mean, it seemed like it would have been a fun ride. Oh, you loved Mountain Express. Yeah, the Schwarzkopf Wildcats, they look pretty fun. So I could understand that. I don't know what parks still have them. So interesting. Uh, let's see. And now our last three questions. What is the name of the oldest operating roller coaster in Japan? I'll say that again. What is the name of the oldest operating roller coaster in Japan? So I'll give you like a few more seconds on that, or maybe I need to repeat it. What is the name of the oldest operating roller coaster in Japan? Once someone gets it, like the name's it's pretty obvious. I'm amazed no one's just guessed it at this point, like as a joke or something, because the name for it is really simple. Uh, Ejector air coasters, you're not even that far off, hilariously enough. Uh, Roller coaster, that is correct. Matthews Coaster Vids got it right. 808 Coaster for Life, you were close. I have heard actually, I think there was a theme park review video that labeled it as Jet Coaster, but that's not actually what it was called. And this was also Togo's first roller coaster, and it actually goes over some buildings, through some buildings, and uh, in alongside buildings. So it's like a pretty cool ride. Although the pacing of it seems to have kind of died in recent years, which is kind of sad. Because I looked up a video like back in 2005. It looked like it actually gave some airtime and it was fun. But then I looked up a POV like more recently and it looks like the pacing has like completely died, which is kind of sad. Hopefully it's doing better then. Uh, what it was running like when I last checked. So our next question is, what is the name of the oldest operating roller coaster in China? And there are two different answers I'll accept because this one's a little bit complex and depending on how people interpret it. But I'll say that again. What is the name of the oldest operating roller coaster in China? And there are two different answers I'll accept. No, it's not roller coaster. That's a good guess because honestly, at this point, it really could be. Wacky Worm. No, it's not Wacky Worm. And by the way, I said oldest operating, so because I wouldn't be surprised if I see. Yeah, I may have stumped you on this one. Um, because it's actually a little bit difficult to actually find it, but I'll give about 15 more seconds, and if no one gets it, then I'll just say it. It is not Mad Mouse. It is not Goliath. Yeah, basically just guess all the, uh, well, if you go off of, like, just, I guess, what is it? Random, like, kind of popular coaster names, you might stumble upon it eventually, at least for one of the answers. Not Rocket, no. Like, it is a pretty generic name if you get it. Baby Coaster comment, no, not quite. I mean, honestly, it'd be pretty funny if someone actually got it. It is not Cyclone. It is not Corkscrew. I mean, there's multiple coasters with this name. No, it's not Cyclone. Um, let's see what else. But no. Hold on here. It's not Ultra Twister, it's not Racer, it's not Boomerang. Alright, I'll just say it. So the oldest operating roller coaster in China, which is like I said, there's two different answers here. And basically the oldest one technically is Dragon at Ocean Park in Hong Kong. However, it is in Hong Kong, and some people kind of have issues considering that, because technically it is part of China, but some people don't see it that way. So Dragon, this is the Aero Looper that opened in 1984 at Ocean Park. That is technically the oldest coaster in China. But like I said, a little controversial because some people have an issue, I guess, considering Hong Kong as part of China, I guess. Even though technically is part of it, but the city basically operates as its own country. But outside of Hong Kong, the oldest operating coaster is a ride called Express Station, which it used to be called Triple Looping Coaster. And I hold on, I need to fix something real quick. Yeah, okay. Good job on that, Matthew. And then yeah, Express Station, and this is a Senyo Looper that had 3 inversions. Yeah, Express Station is a terrible name. And it used to be called Triple Looping Coaster, which isn't much better, but at least it makes sense. And it used to be at a sports center in Shanghai, weirdly enough. That's pretty weird. And then they relocated it to a park called Harbin Cultural Park in Harbin, China, which is one of the larger cities. I believe the city has a population of around 10 million. So something pretty interesting. And I guess no one really got that right. That was a pretty hard question. For sure. Yeah, don't worry about that, ejector coasters. I think everything's under control. Alright, and so for number 15, what was the first roller coaster that was ever made for a Universal Park? This is the last question. What was the first roller coaster that was ever made for a Universal Park? So this is the final question. So wait. Space Mountain. I said Universal. No, it wasn't the Mummy. Good guess. Those are good guesses, but it's not quite. It's one you wouldn't expect, and I don't expect, like, I expect it might be a while before someone gets it. Woody Woodpecker. Yep, that's right. Eric Thomason got it again. It was Woody Woodpecker, which opened in March of, I believe, 1999. Yes, that is when it opened. Just a few months before Hulk and Dragon Challenge, or I mean, I guess at the time it was called Dueling Dragons. I thought, oh my god, I thought we fixed this. Okay, got it. I think we fixed it. Sorry, there was an issue with the chat. Wait. Why'd we unhide him? Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, I guess try to, I guess, make this a little more focus on coasters. Woody Woodpecker's Nut House coaster was, yeah, I think that's what happened. Woody Woodpecker's Nut House coaster at Universal Studios Florida was built in March of 1999, as I mentioned. So it was the first coaster actually built for a Universal Park. And some people might mention, well, Port Aventura, they Universal actually owned them for 3 years, from 1999 to 2001, but they actually never built a coaster during their ownership, so none of the coasters there would have counted. So yeah. Okay. Let's not press this at the same time. All right. Let just all right. Let's. All right, we got it. um, we fixed the problem. Sorry about that, guys. If you saw that in the chat. Um. Okay, so let's see. It's a 7-Eleven. So in about, I'll say 14 minutes, I'm gonna end the stream. And those were all the questions I went through. So once again, you can ask me questions here in the chat. Have anything, if you have anything for me to discuss, you can put it in the chat. And that's just gonna take us through the end of the live stream, which will be in about 14 minutes. Yeah, sorry about what the thing that happened earlier. Sometimes you just can't really control what happens. Will King's Dominion get a good wing coaster? Um, well, that wing coaster layout, honestly, that they showed, it wasn't really anything that amazing. Wow, we have a lot of people on here, 18 people. Maybe I should, uh, maybe do these like 6:30 or something. You know, it's a good day when both Coaster Daddy and Coaster Hour do a live stream on YouTube on the same day. I think I'm gonna do. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna do these on Saturdays. Like it seems like uh, that would be that seems like a good idea. What's my favorite top hat? Hard to say. There's I think I'm gonna go with Storm Runner. I think I got the most airtime on that one. Yeah. Oh, and for you, it's Storm Runner. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Storm Runner is mine. Didn't see that you actually had the same one. I would say so. Accelerators and dragsters, they're pretty good, but I don't think you get as much airtime. So. Busch Gardens Williamsburg needs a RMC Hyper Hybrid to take on Iron Gwazi. Busch Gardens Coaster War. They'll probably get a ground up hybrid eventually. Hopefully, I would. Actually, oh wait, no, they won't. They probably won't because Kings Dominion has one. So, actually, I don't think they'll get that, unfortunately. So, people are free on Saturday. Usually, I do it on Friday night because I feel like that would have been the best time, but it seems like Saturday. I was probably gonna have to do Saturday next week, anyways. But now seeing this, I definitely think I'm gonna go for Saturdays. Top 5 at Six Flags Magic Mountain. So I haven't ridden West Coast Racers yet, so just kind of keep that in mind. My number 5 is Riddler's Revenge, the stand-up coaster. My number 4 is Full Throttle. My number 3 is Tatsu. My number 2 is Twisted Colossus. And of course, my number 1 is X2, which features my favorite moment on any coaster ever, which is X2's first drop, which is just absolutely insane. So if you haven't experienced X2 yet, it's pretty much a love it or hate it kind of ride, but definitely something that I think every coaster enthusiast should do, especially if they aren't able to experience like Ejanica or Dynaconda, which if you're inside of the US, obviously those are coasters that are pretty hard to get to. Your favorite is King Ka and least favorite is Accelerator. Oh, for top hats, yeah, that seems to make sense. A Zadra type coaster is different enough than Twisted Timbers. Yeah, I could kind of see that. So if they make it like a totally different layout, maybe they could still get a hybrid. Yeah, okay, maybe that could happen. A Busch Gardens coaster war could be a new topic for Thrill Central. I think there's other things that he's working on that will be coming out. So I don't think that'll be anything that happens too soon. I need to get to Magic Mountain sometime soon. Yeah, Magic Mountain. It's well, okay. So the coaster collection's amazing. I do not like the park that much. In my opinion, I actually prefer Knott's Berry Farm. Like I think I actually rank it higher than Six Flags Magic Mountain, which is a little weird for some people. But I just like the atmosphere of Knott's Berry Farm. But at Magic Mountain, I think you should definitely do 2 days at least if you're coming here, because otherwise you're either not going to ride all the coasters or get the amount of re-rides you want. I think even if you get the Flash Pass. I haven't tried that before at Magic Mountain, but we'll see. I need to get to Magic Mountain sometime. Oh wait, no, I already read that. X2 drop over El Toro drop. This is coming from a Toro fanboy. For me, I think I might prefer it, but El Toro's drop looks absolutely fantastic as well. Same thing with Big Boom. Like, they're pretty similar, so. And of course, T Express. And I think Colossus is pretty similar. I think all those drops look incredible. Is the Intamin shuttle launch coaster supposed to reach speeds over 100 miles per hour? I'm not sure because I don't think there's official stuff on that. We'll see. We'll see though. I mean, I don't know. Toro's drop is my all-time favorite drop as of now. It might stay because X2 you don't really get like the insane airtime, but it's just more of an insane experience, which makes it my favorite moment on any coaster. Everything I said about Magic Mountain is on point. Like about the coaster collect, like my ranking, or like I guess like how I described it. Yeah, the atmosphere, it has all. It leaves a lot to be desired. Let's see. What is my dream coaster lineup? That's a tough question. I mean, SNS 4D coaster like Ejanica, that would definitely be something. Intamin Blitz on the lines of Taiga, I think. Uh, B&M Flyer along the lines of like something sort of like Flying Dinosaurs, something with that intensity. I don't know if you want me to do models or specific coasters, but um, and then an RMC hybrid, like a hyper hybrid, kind of like Zadra or Iron Dragon. Probably a man, it's really tough. Like it's just like thinking of like a probably a big gravity group wooden specific coasters. Wait, Aiden, why is my brother in the chat? My brother's in the chat. Okay. Read my other comment before reading this one. Oh wait. Okay. Wait. Uh, I thought since Alan was the designer of X, he might do a single rail 4D coaster. That would be insane. I think that's a rumor. That is a rumor that's like a thing because apparently the T-Rex model has been shelved and there was something along the line saying that RMC was going to do something really innovative and it was something that may have been along the lines of a fourth dimensional coaster, which would have been insane. I don't know if it'll be single rail. I mean, I would guess maybe, but definitely I think a 4D coaster might be coming out of RMC, which is literally like one of the most insane things I've ever even heard. That's like a dream come true if that actually happens. That'd be amazing. Yeah, it's very tough to decide a lineup because I want a diverse collection. I don't want like just repeats of like rides that are similar. Like, I mean, there's not really a point. Like, some people might be like, oh, I want a Vekoma, maybe like a Top Gun or something, but I also want an Intamin Blitz. Well, they're so similar rides that like, what's the point? I want to have. I I thought we fixed this. I think this person has multiple accounts. I think that's what's going on. Okay, so someone's coming on here. He has multiple accounts. Basically, that's what's happening. Yeah, it's very tough to decide for a lineup. I agree with that. X2's first drop is pretty terrifying. X2 is the only operating US coaster that for me is scary or overwhelming, at least until I ride it more and get used to it. Yeah, even for me, it's definitely one of the coasters that I like still like when I ride it, I'm like thinking about it like, man, this is like I have to like kind of almost brace myself, not like in a like bad way, like bracing yourself for like head banging or something like that on other coasters, but it's like just something that's like uh, I still have to go into it thinking about it. Like no other coaster even like really does that for me. I've heard some people it's like Top Thrill Dragster. It kind of scares them a little bit. For me, it really didn't. So X2 is like the only ride. Even for me, someone who's ridden it like multiple times, it still kind of does that for me. So I can definitely understand where you're coming from. My favorite drop I've experienced so far is the first drop on Skyrush. The airtime you get in the back row is absolutely ridiculous. You're literally catapulted out of your seat. Yeah, one of the strongest airtime moments I've ever experienced. Along with like the other few airtime hills, of course, on Skyrush, and then Railblazer's off-axis airtime hill is also absolutely ridiculous. And also Railblazer's first drop in the back row, it's insane. Front row, not so much. I mean, it just is weird in the front row, actually. Definitely do RMC Raptors in the back row if you want to experience that amazing first drop, because it's really incredible there. I-305 is scary. Yeah, it seems I could see how someone could think that. Definitely um Airtime Thrills has left the chat. Oh, because Skyrish, yeah. I-305, definitely one of the more, I guess, not trying to, I guess, make a pun here, but more intimidating rides for people. For me, yeah, it's definitely something, like, I'm not afraid of it, but it's just something I, like, think about. It's, like, it's super intense. It's crazy. So I can definitely see why it's, like, maybe you would think it's scary. Not no coasters really scare me, but some of them it's like I kind of have to think about it. Like I'm just like thinking about it as I'm doing it. So, an I-305, I think it would definitely be one of those. When you drop from Pantheon's top hat and you skim the Rhine River at speeds of 76 miles per hour, you might pull some G's, and when you go into that Outer Bank turn, it might, yeah, it will give insane airtime. I like absolutely guarantee that will happen. Because I mean that moment just looks insane. Skyrish's drop is ecstasy. Never fear a coaster until you ride it. No, in fact, yeah, definitely. Canymonium looks better than Skyrish in your opinion. Yeah, some people have that opinion. I mean, I could uh read Chicken's past comments. Wait, I'm confused. Oh, okay, I see. Huh. Okay. Um, I'm confused exactly what uh you mean. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, I'm sure Candemonium will be more comfortable than Skyrush at least. Yeah, definitely. I mean, even I'll admit the restraints are a little uncomfortable, and especially if you're stuck on that brake run for a while, I can definitely see like that gives a lot of pain. So, but at least on ride, the restraints haven't ever bothered me that much. Coast Rider at Knott's is a lot worse. So, yeah. At first, I actually thought Airtime Thrills was watching this, and on the no, no. No, it's just because of the Skyrish thing. Maybe it'll come in one day. You never know. Um, let's see. So, what time is it? Okay, so ask your last questions, last things to discuss. And if nothing really comes up within like the next 2 minutes, I'm gonna end the stream. Because yeah. Will Pantheon be the best coaster in Virginia, beating Intimidator 305? I doubt it, but maybe. It has a chance for sure. Do you think RMC will make other models other than the hybrid wood, Raptor, and T-Rex coasters? Yeah, I think they're gonna make a. They may actually make a fourth dimensional coaster. I was just talking about that earlier. That was like a rumor from Reddit because someone was saying that the T-Rex coaster had actually been shelved and that they were looking to do something more innovative, and it had been hinted that it could be a fourth dimensional coaster, which is pretty insane. Although it might be on a single rail, we'll see. I'm not sure exactly how that's all gonna work. Okay, so um, checking if you could stop spamming, please. But don't do that, please. Like I know it's sometimes it's hard for me to like read stuff, but yeah, the first drop looks good, but can we not spam, please? Um, okay. So I like Apollo's kind of right. Oh, you like Apollo's Chariot kind of ride over Pantheon's kind of ride. That's respectable. I could see that. Yeah. B&M Surf Coaster or SNS Axis Coaster. Um, okay, so well, we don't even know what the B&M Surf Coaster is, so I'll say the SNS Axis. In the thing that was leaked is fake. I said that. There was the leak that was kind of being spread around. That thing's fake. Pretty obvious, in my opinion. Okay, so I think I'm gonna end the stream here now. Thank you all for coming, and it's good to see like Saturdays seem to be a very good day for doing this. So I think I'll do more streams on Saturday in the future rather than like a Thursday or a Friday. And Okay, hold on. Um, all right, so yeah, there's still some things I need to figure out, but with some of these people with multiple accounts. But anyways, uh, thank you guys all for watching, and I'll be doing more live streams in the future, and I'll try to be thinking of more trivia questions. So yeah, see you guys later.